Welcome to the Wake.Show. As everybody knows, a show needs an intro. This is that intro. I am Fisher, your host, featuring Chris McCarty. He can sing, I can't. So why do I do the opening?
Hey, the opening.
Happy Friday.
Hey.
How you doing, Mr. McCarty?
I'm well. I'm really well because I am a really old friend of mine from back in the day is here with us. He helped. She is part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing with some music. Got me to the Tampa area. And Jane McKee is here.
How are you, Jane? Welcome to the show.
Did you notice that he said a really old friend of mine rather than
a
long-time friend of his?
Okay. Well,
I'm older than both you guys put together, so that's all right.
I think you're old when you're dead. That's personally me. I think people are old when they're dead. I meant like fine, a very long-time friend of mine. There you go. I first met Jane when I was, I think I was 19 when I first met her.
I think I was 19 too when I first met Jane.
Look at that. See, about 19.
Well, I would have met you there in the very beginning of 97X, I would imagine.
Yes, when the whole 97X thing started, and I was working in Ybor with a Dr. Michael DeShano at Tahiti Joe's.
I remember Tahiti Joe's.
And your station manager, sales manager, came and wanted us to work with the station, and I said, this sounds like the direction you want to go in with this young staff, so let's rock it out.
Yeah, so I would have been 29 then, Chris, when I first met Jane.
And I was only 59.
and Jane, you look great, by the way. Yes. It's absolutely amazing, and it blows my mind to know. She was just telling us a little while ago, because I go, I was in radio for 25 years, but she's been in music for how long?
Well, around here, 23.
All right.
But back in New York State, I started in 1969 with Capitol Records while I was getting my master's, and then was married to someone in a major band.
Do you talk about that? Do you rather not say that, or does that really matter? Or?
No, I say that.
Beach Boys.
No, I didn't marry him. He's my daughter's godfather.
Oh, that's your daughter's godfather.
One of them, yes. He's no, I was married to somebody in Bob Seger's.
Oh, okay.
I gotta ask you this question. How much of an issue did dating men when they found out that you were with them? How much of an issue was that when you were dating and some guy found out that you were dating someone from Bob Seger's band? Did it always just mess up all your relationships after that?
Well, I wasn't just dating him though. I was married to him.
So it
sort of messed up. It messed up things.
All your dating. All the dates. Marriage always messes up your dating life.
Yeah, it really ruined my. I didn't. It was. Well, I didn't tell everybody that after it was over.
Right.
Well, it's great to have you in the studio. We're going to chat it up about some of the topics of the day. I want to say good morning to Lauren, Stephen, Laura, Brian. How you doing, Dr. Bishop? Ryan, Sean, Michael, Chris Johnson. It's good to see you. Danielle, Joey. Good morning, Joey. Joey's like my dad. My dad passed away in 2012. What I mean by that is Joey is the part of my dad, that just tells it to you straight. Like last night, I go out, and Chris, you'll appreciate this. I go out to my gig at Mastery's, and I need to do some laundry. So I grab a shirt out of the hamper and put it on. It's a nice blue shirt. It's a little wrinkly, but I didn't think it was too wrinkly.
Right.
So I get out there, and at first, as soon as I see him, he shakes my hand, says with a straight face, just sleep in your clothes, and it sounded exactly like something my dad would say.
Isn't that great, man?
You're born in a barn. You're raised in a barn.
Yeah,
and but Joey's good to. Oh my God, Chris! So last night, so he owns Mother Truck and Good food truck, right? Nice. And so he's out at Mastery's a lot, and he brings out different fare. Sometimes it's tacos, sometimes it's burgers, sometimes it's Greek. Last night, burgers. And there's this thing on his menu that I've been wanting to try, but my heart's been telling me not to. It's called the Goober, and I don't know everything that it has on it. If you could, Joey, what as soon as you take a bite, you taste peanut butter. It's one of the things you taste. But then there's a hotness, like jalapeno on it too. And when you're looking at whatever the thing, the sauce or the stuff that's on it,
The secret sauce.
Secret sauce.
yeah, I can't
Goober
peg
sauce.
anything. Yeah, I can't peg anything. The goober. Yeah, it's called the goober. But anyway, it was delicious. I could not recommend it any higher. It was amazing. But you know, it is one of those things I think that should come with a warning for those people with health problems. You probably shouldn't have that kind of burger. It's good to see you, Lauren. I noticed there was. My wife said the same thing. She goes, "Yeah, I noticed you were pretty wrinkled when you left." Well, honey, you're not supposed to let your husband out of the house looking like that. You should say something.
She knew. She's like, oh, no one's going to look at him like, that's fine. Go ahead, brother. Do you.
She didn't want to have to iron it before you left.
Oh, Sam Miller. Chris. Sam. She says, you guys look great. Happy Friday. Well, Sam, welcome back from Colombia. It was nice to see you made it back. Okay, so here it is. Ready? Here's what's on that burger. Peanut butter. Jalapeno pimento cheese is the other thing. No sauce. And yeah, it doesn't sound great, but I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing.
Was there meat in it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a hamburger. Yeah. It's a
It sounded
hamburger,
like
so.
a peanut burger.
Okay. Thank you so much to our sponsor for the first 15 minutes, Single Source Insurance. If you're sick and tired of dealing with the bigger companies that are treating you like crap when you need them, they're not there for you, please give our friends a call at Single Source Insurance. Check them out on the web, singlesourceins.com.
I work with them, so it's legit. Right on.
Oh, did you call them yesterday?
I did.
All right. Sam says, thanks, man. I didn't get kidnapped. Welcome back. Let's go to On This Day in History. We like to get this out of the way before we get into any of the news of the day. That way it puts things in perspective. For the news today sometimes can scare the crap out of us and make us think, things are coming to an end. But we realize we filed away and go, it'll likely just be a footnote in history. Thank you, Joey, and go Bolts to you. On this day in 2012, Facebook raises $16 billion in the largest tech IPO in U.S. history. It is the largest to date and the third largest IPO ever in the United States after those of Visa and General Motors. At the time it went public, Facebook was valued at $104 billion and had some 900 million registered users worldwide. Did you get caught up do you remember that craze back then, Chris?
Yes.
Because that's when like regular people that didn't know anything about stocks were buying stock. Like, oh, well, I'm on Facebook. Mm-hmm. It's huge. I'm going to buy stocks too. Mm-hmm. I do remember John Paul II, born on this day in 1920. I did already pre-screen this, and there wasn't a lot of things that jumped out at me. 1 million protesters take to the streets in Beijing in 1989. On this day in 1980, Mount St. Helens erupts. Remember that one? Yep. Oh. Shrek released on this day in 2001. That's
a favorite, man. That was a great movie.
Oh, you have your phone? You have any the on this day in music?
I do. Well, not music history. I was doing sports, but I should.
Okay, sports is fine.
I should be doing music history.
That's fine.
We did get Mark McGwire past Mickey Mantle on the home run career list. He ended the game with 539. I'm gonna do sports as well because I love sports.
I saw a number yesterday saying how many people are dropping off Facebook. It's super interesting. A lot of they started that delete Facebook thing a couple months ago. Once it was unveiled that Facebook had relinquished. I don't know how that worked out, but cut a deal with whatever that data company was to give them all that information. And I don't know if it's picking up steam or what. On this day in 1861, a newspaper report criticizes Mrs. Lincoln. That's an everyday. What on this day in 1861, a newspaper report criticizes the president's wife. Fast forward 150 years, and it happens every day.
In 67, the Beatles were selected to represent the UK for the first ever global-wide satellite broadcast. Pretty cool.
Oh, wow. And also on this day, Randy Johnson throws a perfect game at 40 years old.
That's awesome.
That is something.
That's awesome.
On this day in 2004. Because yesterday we were talking about David Wells and him throwing a perfect game drunk. I promise you, Randy Johnson was not. Did you ever see that pitch?
Which one?
He blew up the bird.
Oh, I did.
One?
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
He walked off and carried. Yeah, man, that was crazy. crazy.
They throws a pitch, 100 and something mile an hour fastball.
And
Just
a burn. Wham!
flies right in front of it. I'm sure.
Uh-oh.
What was that?
In 2000, Madonna's boyfriend Guy Ritchie was arrested after attacking a fan outside his superstar's London home.
Have you ever wanted to attack a fan? Have you ever been to a point where, like, listen, you just got way too obnoxious, and if you don't get out of my face,
never
this
attack.
is south.
Never attack. Just gently move out there. Mush. You can mush. So
Jane, in your career, you've hey, Cords. Oh, sorry.
That's Boss Man.
Jane, in your career, I would imagine you've seen quite a few interesting exchanges between bands and fans over the years.
Tell us.
You mean other than throwing bras at them or something like that in the old days?
In the old days? Throwing bras on stage, not much of a thing anymore?
That happens on Chase's show every day. Every time. They have they've collected all the bras and put them on the drum thing, and every show there's someone just...
I thought it was a new era.
Give me a baby, Chase! Every day.
Yeah, I haven't seen that recently. And I think that, everybody in this business now is really... respectful of their fans and grateful, because without them, they're not going to be up there doing what they do, or enjoying themselves, making money and having a good time. So there's obnoxious people, though. There's always going to be obnoxious people that you've got to have control over. And if you're going to play somewhere in an area where there's a large enough crowd, you have to be sure you've got security. So I'm always really conscientious about security at any of my shows, the big events.
Has you've been in and around music since 1969 when you first were working with Capitol Records? So that means that were you there at the same time as Woodstock? Were you working in music?
I was dating someone who was performing there, but I also was.
That's awesome.
But I also was, my boss. He was the local distributor in Buffalo for all of the Capitol Records, and so he gave me his RV, and I took some friends, and it was bizarre because the traffic coming out of that area across the state, it was just horrendous, and at almost a standstill. But someone got really hurt on a motorcycle accident, and his foot was hanging off, so they put him in the back of my vehicle and escorted me with the cops, even though I had a backstage allowance. I never would have gotten back there, but I don't think, because I don't know, we would have had to walk a couple miles because we were a couple miles away, but they escorted us in, and then I lost my friends for three days because I was in the back, awesome. and they were out front in the mud and in the tent and everything, and my vehicle went with me.
So you were backstage.
I was near the hog farm where everybody was tripping, and
you were backstage in Woodstock.
Out. Oh yeah,
that's a great.
Listen, I've watched every bit of footage, and I don't know why I was never in a picture, but I had my clothes on, so that could have been why I wasn't. So
I know this. I know the feeling a little bit. Not like I know the feeling. I remember when I was on America's Got Talent, and I was the one guy they didn't show me. I'm like, wait a minute. Everyone knew I was there. But
hold on. There was one shot where you in the background holding your guitar.
There was two shots. Standing
when you were in the pond taking a bath with those girls. I saw you.
You know what's great? These two are the only ones that I knew besides my mom who actually saw my audition when in St. Pete. She was there and he was there.
Yep.
Remember that? And I bombed, but I didn't bomb, but I bombed. I thought I bombed.
But you were great when you opened the Florida Theater when I first saw you for my boys from Sister Hazel, who I've worked with on and off ever since then.
Going back to that time when you say you bombed for American Idol, okay, as your friend, I'm going to say you didn't bomb. As a radio guy, yes, because I know what you were trying to do, so yes, you did bomb.
Right.
And by you missed this moment that you were going after.
It was called doing too much. Trying to do too much. I mean, they give you if they're 90 seconds. I got 90 seconds to show my time. I don't. That's not enough time. So I was gonna sing. I can do that, and then I was gonna show that I actually can play the guitar, which shows talent. But the sound system, was just there was no bass at all. So it just sounded like my guitar was going. And you guys remember that? And it was like, what is he doing? And I remember being like, that's just not a good look.
Do you recall his set, or do you recall that day, Jane?
Yeah.
Well, you were there. Do you know what you remember?
I wasn't there. But it was.
Oh, you weren't there.
No, I wasn't there.
You were at the Mahaffey Theater. I remember.
I was at the Mahaffey.
Yeah, you were there.
Oh yeah, because I did the back line.
You were there.
That wasn't American Idol. It was
No,
America's Got Talent.
Yeah, America's Got
Yeah,
Talent.
because I handled all the backline for everybody there.
Yeah.
For that weekend, they called me and asked if I would do the backline.
So do you remember his
keyboards and
set?
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See? It's that face.
Because I
But I will
felt
tell-
it, man. As
no,
soon as
but-
you did it, I felt it. I was just like, oh.
But in all honesty, in all the years of watching that show, and that's not like one of my favorites now. I mean, I always watch The Voice because I've booked those people for anthems at the Buccaneers games and so on. America's Got Talent rarely, if ever, goes with a solo performer. Now, maybe a little 12-year-old girl who's
Right.
unbelievable, but a solo acoustic singer-songwriter
Just not going to do it. Get it
just
done.
doesn't happen.
Which
It's a good experience for anybody to do.
Oh, yeah, I'm
but
sure.
especially people who are really not as knowledgeable as Chris was about the ins and outs of concert situations and the intricacies of backstage logistics. It's really a value to them. But
Well, going back to setting up the question about you being in music since 1969, has music changed? That's a stupid question. Let me back that up. The concert experience is it tamer now than it once was? Can you still find those rock and roll shows that were legendary from the 60s through the 80s still today?
yes. However, the demographic, obviously, everything changes because of age. And the climate. I mean, we weren't as a mainstream, country aware of certain genres of music as much as we are now, like hip hop, rap, that kind of thing. That never existed in my mind or in my knowledge base or in my experiences in the 60s or 70s. And coming up through all those different decades of music, I just love music so much that, I like to roll with the punches in what's happening out there. Audiences, of course, now are so completely different because like when we, Chris, you and I, were at Timberlake on Tuesday evening, it's like when they tell you to everybody light up your cell phones and it looks like a million fireflies all over the inside of the arena. None of that existed, nor could we share that experience with people who couldn't afford to go or weren't in that area, because now we can put it on our Facebook pages, we can put it on the internet, and people can see what we're experiencing and enjoying, and it could prompt people, I'm going to get to the next show that looked like a killer show kind of thing. It's just so different because of the technology.
And how funny in the beginning, just 5 years ago or so, when we were first getting those cameras and the lights on the phones, that the artists were freaking out, going, "No, because we're just coming out of the Napster era when they're trying to figure out ways to control the music." Yeah, so now you're videotaping them, like, damn it, how do we control our music?
That's a really good question. I honestly don't know. I mean, I know that, like, when I was watching a clip on the news the other day of Smokey Robinson in front of Congress talking about the artists pre-'70s who have some of their biggest hits, and the music is not, they have no royalties. And that he was there talking about that because, like when I although I don't do as many bars as I used to when I began, venues have to have AFTRA, BMG. What's the other one that starts with an ASCAP that starts with an S? CSAP. Yeah, they have to have those dues paid annually.
And what she's talking about, those are publishing dues, so that those bars and clubs can play the music over the loudspeakers, that DJs can come in and bands can come in, right?
Right. And I mean, I went to court with somebody from this area, federal court, some years back, like a decade ago. It cost him 6 figures because he kept saying, I don't think this is going to the artists. I don't think the money's getting back to the real artists. And I don't trust these people in this big organization. And I had to, because I had some bands there and they were doing originals and some covers. And they had representatives from the organizations, that were filtering through the communities all over the state, listening to people to see if they were ripping off the artists, doing their songs without them getting royalties. And it can be a really tricky slope. Venues that play music that is not original to the artists sitting there in front of you, if it's live, or the DJ, have to pay these dues. And it's not exorbitant.
And I want to say it's also based on the occupancy of your bar,
number of days of the week, hours of the day. It's really an intricate, calculation, but it's scary if you don't do it. And they've closed down people. Some of the things we see where people are closed down, and that's just within this year, both the Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, is because the people feel like they can't afford to pay the dues. It's too bad.
But you cut your corners, and sometimes shortcuts can slow you down, and cutting corners sometimes you back you up, and so you just want to try to do anything just as efficiently as possible, and just go by the books, man.
I don't know what the fine is for YouTube. But I know, because I do events through Events Done Right, and so that's karaoke, weddings, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things he told me he was very passionate about was do not play anything from YouTube, especially when I'm out doing karaoke. And if I don't have the song in my system, but I could still pull it up on the screen via YouTube.
Can't do that.
He said, do not under any circumstance do that. And I don't know what the fine is, but he made it sound like it was significant.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
Well, now I don't look it up.
But I do know that I've been drinking water because I'm doing this whole cleanse thing, of course, and just on it. And as such, I'll be right back.
All right, you go do your thing. All right, well, Jane, it's good to have you in the studio. As somebody who's been in radio was in radio for 25 years, over 25 years. Our paths crossed quite a bit when we were out doing shows.
Right.
What are your recollections of those early days of 97X, those first couple of years, and the shows that were coming through town, the bands were coming through town? We were just talking. I can't remember what it was. We were. It was just my wife and I. We were trying to just remember one of the shows that these one bands. So we're going back and looking through, and we're coming across the articles of the time coming out of Creative Loafing and the St. Pete Times and this and this and this. And it was a nice jaunt down memory lane.
Well, you're younger than me, so you'll probably remember more than I do.
Well, that's right. Well, you were hustling then, having your own stuff going on, so you're not sitting back like just observing whatever's happening at the radio stations are in town, because you're in the clubs and trying to bring these bands to town.
Well, initially, what started was a friend of mine, Kenny Soul, who owns Club Sky in Ybor. At that time, it wasn't Club Sky; it was 1509, and it was.
I remember 1509 Salsa Nights Saturdays.
Yeah, but before that, it was in 1994. He said, "Why don't you have a lot of friends, a lot of cute females. We're just getting this club started. Why don't you help with marketing?" And I was still teaching high school, so it was just something to do for fun on the side. And so it was Killian's Rock Cafe, which was a much larger version of the smaller Killian's on Waters, which, along with like the Rocket Club back in the 70s, was a big deal in Tampa for rock and roll. Lots of great bands like Secret Service and Foreign Legion and Stranger, that's now Greg Billings' band. A lot of people got their start there, and I didn't work there. I used to play there. I mean, and go out there and watch music and go to the big parties and stuff. But I came here in '81, and that was many years later. And so the Killians in Ybor, where I'm doing a sort of a flashback reincarnation summer series of rock and roll on Sundays. Now I start this Sunday night with a couple of bands, Ken Logan's band Cult Status and Joe Sanders. Ken was the lead singer for You Rock and the Hazies, very big bands from this area, signed by Epic Records, I believe. And he's going to be performing, and a young band called Against the Element are going to be opening. And I'm doing that every month with someone who's had their roots in what was in the past, because we're calling it Flash Forward Sundays, and then someone who's an up-and-comer. Cool. And it's just kind of a fun thing to do, and that's how I started before I met you guys and everybody else within that beginning of 97X starting. Well,
I feel like such a horrible ex-radio personality, not knowing that Greg Billings, who we've done plenty of stuff with, was once Stranger.
Yeah, and Tom. Yeah, and he has his original bass players with him. Of course, Rob Stoney, who's his unbelievable singer-songwriter, keyboard player, who did a lot of work with the Warren Brothers and Faith and Tim McGraw and people in Nashville. I have him tonight at Zydeco, a new place in Ybor City, playing solo, funky tonk piano.
What time is that?
7 to 10.
7 o'clock.
7 to 10. Yeah, he's amazing. The Greg Billings Band, right now I'm working on something with them and the Black Honkies for a big July 4th event at a new place in Tampa.
She's slipping because she should have said Chris McCarty. Oh, I'm just playing. I'm totally playing.
I'm waiting till you bring Chase Rice to me and we can have Chris McCarty opening for Chase Rice.
Look at that.
For real.
Just give me.
She ain't messing around, Chris. She's
For real.
I'm just kidding. Just give
She's
me.
not messing around, Chris.
No, I know. She doesn't play.
And Chris's event, Chris's band is playing, is it the 9th?
The 9th.
The 9th at the Hard Rock, and I'm an agent for the Hard Rock, and I wish I could be there. However, I'm having an operation on June 1st, and I won't be mobile for a few weeks. So I'll be restricted in walking. So,
but you know what? It's gonna be great for me when I have my surgery. I appreciated my walking, being able to walk when I wasn't able to walk for like 4 months. So it'd be the same thing and be like, man. But sometimes it's funny for people like you and I who just constantly go and go and go. And that's
to stop.
It's so difficult for me.
It's horrible.
I got to keep moving because I don't know how long I got here.
No,
you know
I
what I mean? So yeah.
You get this psychosis. It's like, oh my God, I'm going crazy in this bed.
Wrong. There's something I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You poor bastards.
Yeah, really.
I'm telling you.
All right, I want to hit a couple of things in the news today. First of all, give you an update on Houston. When I got up this morning, was going through the news. There was a shooting at a Houston high school, and by the time that I got in here, we'd had some more details. Man, I'm sorry, guys. You both
didn't do it?
Well, you know, because you both side. And you know that everybody watching too did the same thing, you know?
Because it just takes everything out of us. I mean, I think what that is we're all tired of it and we're all saddened by it. And it's just like, when will it stop? And then you think about just the families, the kids, what they endured, the parents who just now dealing with, I'm pretty sure, is the nightmare of all parents. It's just all of it. It's just
PTSD.
It's just, you know?
And I appreciate that. There's almost a part of me, because we're sitting here. We've got you, Chris, a long music career. I'm in the periphery of the music industry as a radio DJ for so many years. Jane in the music industry going back to 1960, going back to Woodstock. So we can sit here and exchange stories about concerts and musicians that we've met, great experiences that we've had with them, horrible experiences that we've had with them. And not delve into any of this. But you know that I've got issues with that. I feel like that in our country especially, we have a tendency to try to play that fantasy land game and block out everything that makes us feel like this, and just, you know, look at all the rides and, you know, the flashy lights.
But I think that the reason why it is important that we do bring these to light is because it is that moment of being able to articulate how you're feeling and connect with everyone else, like Jane sighing, me sighing, and you recognizing the sigh. So it is good that, you know, we're all still in this together, and so just to know that someone else is grieving alongside with you, it's part of the healing process, I think. So
yeah,
you know.
and
for me as a teacher of 32 years, it breaks my heart. Every time.
Yeah.
You know, because I've seen I've been on a campus where gunshots, you know, went over the heads of our girls playing softball from a nearby complex kind of thing. And it was back at, I mentioned to you guys, back at the time of Columbine, that my husband said, look, you have this secondary career going, you've been in this 30 years, do you want to hang in there any longer, or do you think it's time to get out? Because I'd like you to get out. And it's like, it was a tough decision, but I got out.
He goes, honey, it's safer for you to spend your life going to concerts multiple times a week than it is for you to go to the classroom 5 days a week.
That's a sad scenario. It all comes back to guns.
That's insane.
Oh, you think the issue itself is you're someone who goes, get rid of the guns, get rid of the problem?
Guns and us not recognizing, whether it's in children or otherwise adults, the mental condition of the people around us, the people who are on that edge of
I think there's more of us. I mean, more of the people that people realize that are holding on. You know,
that are just hanging on by a thread, literally, to what they believe they can endure in their own lives. And it's frightening. So you have to watch those around you. Everybody should be looking out for each other. That's the way the world should be.
I feel like when I hear looking out, I almost think it's almost like listening. I think that we all need to do a better job of listening to each other and listening to these children and just trying, because it's just a voice. And I think we all feel that way. We, especially as a teenager, I remember being like, no one understands me. It's like, instead of trying to tell someone you should, it's
Right.
more like, I don't even know what it's like to be you. I couldn't even imagine being in your shoes. No one can do what you do, and that, I think that compassion is really what's lacking, and we're so dismissive, and maybe it is part of the Facebook selfie me thing, and no one's really understanding. They're not into just relationships and real friendships and what it means to be your friend, what it means to love someone else, and just I don't know. I think that's part of. I don't know. I wish that I could listen to what that kid has to say, or whoever it was that was shooting, and just see why you so upset. Why?
Well, let's see if we can find out any more information here. It looks like there are multiple fatalities. The lockdown was about 8 a.m. this morning. School district has confirmed an unspecified number of injuries, but said it wouldn't immediately release further details. The suspect has been arrested and secure. We hope the worst is over, and I really can't say any more about that because it would be pure speculation. And I think I saw 8.
But at least we have someone who hasn't been shot dead in the back or something, and we can talk to this person and find out what was it that was hurting you so badly that you struck out this way. And sometimes it's those people around us, children especially, young people, who are the most silent, that we have to take note of. You have to say, is everything cool? Are you okay?
Yes.
Whether it's a parent or a friend or a teacher or somebody, that child that's so withdrawn could be that next person who you don't know what's happening. The wheels are turning, but which way are they turning? Are they forward or are they backwards? Are they going to grind to a halt to a point where they can't go any further without doing?
18 years old, took his own life, and nobody saw it coming. His friends, so afterwards, of course, the parents are trying to put things together, going back to the friends, and the friends are like, no, we didn't see this coming either. So
I tell you, man, and I've told this story a couple of times. What Chris McCarty, would you say it like that? What made me was, I'm 13 years old at a very ripe age. It's adolescence, and my parents went through a divorce, and I thought and convinced myself that it was, my fault. And so I'm in school, and the year before I'm getting A's, B's, and of course a C+ in math. and then the following year, in the summertime, they split. The following year, I'm getting D's and F's. And it's interesting, as I became adult, I realized, why is it that no one was like, what's going on? No one asked, no one, and what saved me was my summer camp, because my summer camp was just full of love. And so I feel like, it's crazy how that can turn you one way if you didn't have the love into what we see here, versus if you have the love and, now I'm rocking and rolling and took all that energy and made it into music, which is pure love, So, man, it's just, and that's it resonates really well.
That brings up a good point about it. Being a teenager is growing up. Being a human's difficult.
Yeah,
all right,
hard,
it is not easy. It doesn't matter what walk of life you come from either. It is not easy for anybody. I have a feeling, but all of us, or most of us along the way, we find these outlets. So as you're going through those moments, you have these outlets. For Chris, it's music and sports, and for other people, sports and this and writing and hanging out with friends, laughing, joking, whatever it is. But not everybody finds that outlet, and so it gets internalized and just keeps grinding until like Jane just said, it gets to that point where they just lash out. So either they just take it on themselves and like some do, and just take their own lives, or they lash out outward.
I feel like it would be great, and sorry to keep jumping in and chiming in. Just thought about when maybe it's taken more shape just because of this conversation, but having people of influence going to the schools themselves and not trying to make it like a public thing, but going to the schools and talking to the kids, and listening to the kids, and just, it would be great if there were some famous people who came together and they just said they're going to do a tour of elementary schools or middle schools and just try to push that light back into them and talking, because that's someone they obviously know and they look up to, and in some ways they feel like they connect with. I feel like that's,
well, social media platforms, Chris, do help a lot of people, young people, from an Ariana Grande to whomever you could think of,
right,
to through whether it's a Facebook or Instagram accounts and so on, to share, especially when they've gone through horrific things like she did with the bombings, in Manchester.
Oh, that's right. She was there. That's right.
That they've reached out and have, once they've been able to process the pain that they've individually felt, to reach out to other, younger people, and then going back to Manchester to do that concert was a big deal.
Wow.
A couple things coming from the comment section here. Report yesterday that Nicholas Cruz, and this is the guy that shot up Parkland, pointed a rifle at his brother Zachary and his mother in the months before the shooting at Parkland, and they did not report it because this guy had already been on people's, I guess, radar for various things. And so this was another one of those. Who knows if it would have changed anything or not had they even called it in. Nikki points, thank you, Kurt, by the way, from AM 820 News, your conversation station. And Nikki Cooper, it doesn't help that parents aren't home anymore. Both parents have to work. No discipline. And medicating so many children. So that's something that you will see. One of the arguments that are out there, as people say, take away the guns. Other people are saying, hey, hold on a second, but there's also some fundamental things that we need to look at too, and that is stability within the home. You like my dad went to work as a mailman, and my mom was able to stay at home, and we had 4 kids, right, in the 70s and 80s. Now, granted, there were those moments, those stretches that my mom had to go get a part-time job for a little while or go to work for a year or two, but for the most part, able to do it. Fast forward, you can't do that now. Somebody who's making a mailman salary, I have a feeling is not easily raising 4 children and making sure that food's on the table. So both parents have to work. Then you don't have that structure and the stability at home, so the kids are stay on a somewhat of the right path.
I feel like we all need to be holding each other accountable. You know what I mean? Across the board. I was at Deadpool last night, right? I saw a Deadpool movie. Phenomenal. Hilarious.
Oh, yeah?
Hilarious.
Awesome.
And there was this baby, like 2 or 3 years old, probably 2, maybe 1 something, is in this theater and just whining. And it's a violent film, right? Just whining. And I'm in the very far back. I'm watching all these heads that keep looking at her, and they could feel everyone being like, why is this kid here? Why is it? But no one says anything. So who do you think says something?
You.
I do. I at some point I go, kids first. And then she gets up, takes the kid to the back, and then a couple. But the problem is all of you guys thought the same thing and no one said anything. So we're not holding anyone accountable. So and that's, I don't know. I feel like it's selfishness. Like just, I need to see this movie. Forget the bit. Like, are you serious?
It could very well be a selfish thing. It also could be, somebody who does not have that much time to get, and this was just a little window of opportunity they had to get out. And
I just feel I have kids too, and I did not
go
to the movie theater because their babies want to suck it up, wait for it to come on Redbox or whatever you have to do. I'm talking about like selflessness. Like this baby is going off and people are looking at you and you just, I don't care.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't care. The baby's probably scared. Right. Like, what are you doing?
Too loud.
So it's like, come on, man. Yes.
That
I just feel like that could
too.
also, we talk about like families and I know we all just need to really talk. I don't know,
Jane, how many times have you been at a concert and you've seen a young family there and they've got their baby there, which I'm okay with, as long as your baby has a little ear, right? And they'll just be sitting there at, it looks like they're 4 months old, 6 months old.
Have you ever intervened in that?
When we were going into the Timberlake thing the other day,
that's borderline
I saw
abuse.
A baby that was like, she was standing up, so she probably was about 1. And, the first thing I did when my great-grandson Bentley was born, because he's not quite 2, was I bought Bose noise-canceling headphones for him in a blue. And it was the first present that I gave to the parents, to my granddaughter. I said, if you're going to bring him to the football games for your brother, because he was a high school quarterback at the time, I said, you're going to put these on Bentley. Because even in the stands, I don't want anything to happen to his ears.
Yeah, it gets very loud at sporting events too.
But that mom at the theater could easily, in my opinion, have sat toward the back where she could get up and go out and console the child, and then maybe come back in once he's settled down to get him his little juicy, box thing or something, But
just the first time I ever took my kids to a movie that wasn't a cartoon, it was a new Spider-Man. And, it wasn't really packed, but I was very much, you see me on the show when I have the kids on, I pay attention to them always, like, shh, 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 shh. you know. And there was one little scene where Valentina, huh, gone. My kid got scared. I'm out. I'm not even trying to mess my kid up. I mean, I just feel like we got to be like that. We got to be better. We got to really start asking better questions to ourselves, to our friends, and like, and you know, just even here, who knows, man? I don't know.
Sharon,
frustrated.
Going back to the school shootings, and Chris, you said, you know, I feel like there needs to be this group of celebrity people or people of influence, you know, touring. And Sharon goes, the trouble with that is there's too much severe mental illness in the country and in the schools, and that the speakers like that will, you know, you can't. You can get through the average kids, you know, the kids that are all within a certain lane, but the severe mental illness, from her vantage point, is there's just too much of it out there.
And I hear that, but the only problem is I don't want to single anyone out and say you can and you can't. We don't really know who has the mental illness. I just, you know,
right.
It's just any kind of effort. I'm just saying we need to be doing maximum effort. Like, there's something that we as a whole are not doing, that this is still happening. We all recognize it and agree. I'm just thinking of people of influence. I haven't really seen that, and it would be great.
That goes back, the book idea that I was talking about yesterday, that I wanted a buddy of mine that's was a sports agent at the time to help me out with, and that was getting people like Tim Tebow, Tony Dungy,
I love this idea,
Peyton Manning, and those that we've idolized in our culture and put up on a pedestal to show moments of imperfection in their lives, moments they wish they could have back, where they maybe treated somebody horribly and it's bothered them for years, or they made a decision that's bothered, you know, stuff like that. And my friend did not like that idea at all, because he felt like I was trying to drag down these great people. I mean, that's not it at all. I want the little ones
to humanize them a little bit. Yeah.
Just to humanize
Just to
them.
connect. So if we connect, then they can say, oh, you're not perfect. So I don't have to feel bad about the things, because people feel bad and they beat themselves up. I've done it too. We've all done it. And so you're just trying to eliminate that. And I love that. That's another thing I love about the show with you and I. We call ourselves out every day. There's something we're going to be like, hey, you know, I did this. Hey, I'm not perfect. I did this. I had to stop, and all that. I mean, I think that's great. Lose that mask. And be okay with being like, you know what, I'm an imperfect, perfect human being, and I made steps that were maybe steps backward, but I let those steps bring me forward. But acknowledging the mistake.
Because the thing is,
try it again.
It's not about bringing those people down a notch and off their pedestal. Not that at all. It's more of showing everybody else that even you too can be imperfect in a moment. Even you too could be a jerk in a moment and still stay focused on being a good person, or whatever, you know, that goal is, and be a mentor one day yourself, or somebody that somebody looks up to.
It's hard being
even though you're not perfect.
It's hard being a human, man. You nailed it. You know what's so hard? The fact that I gotta go to the bathroom again, dude.
I'm the old person here with a small bladder. What's up with that, McCarty? You know, Fisher, I think that it really, really, and this is going back to just being the age I am, being a mom, a grandmother, a great grandmother, and a teacher, and working with so many different age groups of people, and so many people in walks of life. I just love my extended family, what I call everybody, and I think that as you get older, you know, you see so many things with a different perspective. But honest to God, I think the gal that was responding earlier, this really does go back to family, to parents, not just in a movie theater, but all the time. The fact that, like, how many families really sit down for dinner and talk to their kids like you sometimes see in a TV show, you know, how was your day kind of thing. It doesn't always happen. No. So, you know, you can bring in sports figures, you can bring in, because these kids idolize them, that you can bring in people from, you know, the music
YouTube
industry or anywhere, you know. Yeah, that's a big influence.
When I see my nieces and nephews now, they're telling me about, oh, have you seen so-and-so? Have you seen this feed of this? And they're all into this person, and I don't know who the hell they're talking about. And I look them up, and they've got 10 million people following them online.
And you have to hope to God that they're delivering the right messages, because certainly in our country right now, and I've been voting since I was 18, so we're looking at a long time, and I voted both sides of the
blame you then?
Of the spectrum.
It's your fault.
I love that she's voted both sides. See?
Yeah, I've been a Republican. I voted for Republican presidents. I voted for Democrats. Sometimes I'm like independent, and I just think right now we are in a state of affairs that has saddened me as I look forward to the last 20 years of my life. you know, and I think about all the young people behind me, my own family,
Who I
and
met, who I met,
I am, you know, somewhat leery of the outcome of many things going on, you know, that come out of Washington with the attitudes and the way people are being treated, the things they say about one another. How can we expect our children who are witnessing and hearing these things to, if they don't have a good understanding and explanations? A lot of parents will just like say, well, my kid, I don't have to talk to them about this stuff, you know, but you do, because you don't know what they're talking about behind your backs and with their friends and in school. And you have to confront some of the ugliness and try to, the best you can, explain it and tell them how they need to live their lives to be inclusive of everyone, to be fair, to be honest, you know, and to care about everybody.
It's okay. We have the internet to raise our children these days. We don't.
Yeah.
You know, so what? You don't. Yeah. Parents don't need to be home. You've got the. You got YouTube.
You got TV.
That's right.
You got the computer.
All right. There's a couple things that I want to get into today. Like I said, we had the updating of the shooting coming out of Houston. There. You know, another sad state of affairs or sad thing that has come along with this too is the first thought that popped in my head this morning when I saw the headline. The first thought in my head wasn't, oh, here we go again. I saw it was from Texas, and I go, oh, well, they all should have been armed, and everybody should live. I don't think that's me. I don't think that's my soul. I think that is over 25 years of being in the media and kind of training yourself to think a certain way when you're watching the news. And so I hated that the first thought in my head was some horrendous, I don't know, attempt at levity. Maybe that's even me justifying it. But now let's turn our attentions to behind. Have you seen this, Chris? You were talking about Deadpool.
wait. Let me say something. Go back to what you were saying. I think it was Pat was on the show, and
he just signed on. By the way,
something about the lion and then or the tiger at the school, and then was like part of him was like, I wish the tiger got out and mauled a couple kids, and you kind of agreed. So here it was. I just thought of that because what you said, it's almost that same kind of thought, like thinking, like, oh well, if they're shooting schools and maybe if they had guns, that I don't know where. I'm gonna figure that out. But do you think that's the same kind of sarcasm that you shared just then?
Going back to my childhood, this is not the way that I was raised, and the morbid or like the really out of left field and blue and morbid jokes and stuff like that were never something in my head. But once I started getting into radio, when I was 20 years old, I was an intern on a morning show, and I quickly learned. I wasn't trying to make the people on the radio laugh. I was trying to make the guys inside the studio laugh, and since they're of a certain mindset, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get them to 15 years later or something like that. I don't want to say what a horrible person I became, but I trained myself. I would go to bed thinking about what can I do tomorrow? What can I say to make people go, holy shit, I can't believe they just said that on the radio or did that on the radio.
Do you think kids do that? Little kids do that when laying in bed for tomorrow? Or what can I do to get a rise? I wonder.
Probably not.
No,
I don't know. There might be a handful of them out there like that. Your Dennis the Menace that just lay there going, how can I torture my teachers tomorrow?
I think that was the Howard Stern School of Broadcasting.
That is true too. Yeah.
That might have really done something to you too.
Well, that's who you're weighed up against. You know, when I was coming up, so that would have been, I started in 92, 93, 95, and that doing as college boy, the intern. But that's when Howard Stern was, big
controversy. Eminem was big, blowing up at that point.
The late night, Ron and Ron.
Yeah,
controversy and shock and
And I never thought I was a shock jock. Because I weighed myself up against Howard, and then you're right, 100% Bubba the Love Sponge, and there was nothing we ever did on the radio that was really that controversial, weighed against Bubba the Love Sponge, because everybody had their eyes on him, so we were doing whatever we wanted to over there. And then I can't share it. It's still too disgusting. But one day I remember making a joke in front of friends, and this wasn't even on the radio. And I'm tearing up thinking about this. But I made some joke that you can't take back. And it's one of those things that have eaten at me ever since. It's been like 10 years or maybe even longer now. But that's... I'm feeling you, bro. All right, there you go. Get in there. Nice and deep. But yeah, it wasn't even something that I said publicly, but or on the radio. But one of the things that I regret most in my life was what would seem to be an offhanded, morbid joke. And it's something that still haunts me to this day. So maybe one day I'll share it with you, but I doubt it. All right, enough of that. Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Ooh, shake it off.
All right. Now, this is hilarious. Did you guys see what Deadpool did in Walmart?
I just saw that. So that's so brilliant. It's brilliant.
So Deadpool hijacked the DVD covers. They hijacked the covers of 16 different movies.
It's so awesome.
All right, if you guys are looking at your screens there.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Terminator. So you got the little red eye there. Fight Club, the bar of soap.
One of my favorites, all-time favorite.
Edward Scissorhands, Predator, Revenge of the Nerds, holding up the underwear there. How great is that?
Great.
Castaway, Wilson, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly,
Clint.
and War of the Planet of the Apes. There's some of the ones they showed there. Everywhere you look these days, you'll find Deadpool. There he is telling monologue. Did you see that, by the way, the other night? He was on Stephen Colbert. He just hops onto stage during the monologue.
No, I missed it.
And they have this little back and forth, and he's like, well, how about I just do your monologue for you?
That's awesome.
And then picks up and does the monologue. It was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
He also popped up in an improbable number of other places across the pop culture spectrum. In fact, he's now even appearing on the DVD box covers and other movies. How genius!
Genius, dude.
Recently, Walmart shoppers may have noticed that My Cousin Vinny, they were considering copy, contains 100% more Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds' mouthy superhero now appears in the cover images police lineup, banishing stars Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei into the cinematic ether. In total, 16 movies from Deadpool's studio, 20th Century Fox, are participating in the old switcheroo. So when you get this, personally, I wouldn't mind a Predator DVD with Deadpool subbing in for some. No, now when you're getting these movies, then I think it's actually Deadpool.
Yes.
Right?
It's definitely Deadpool.
They're all Deadpool.
But it's genius because those old movies are still getting a resurgence in an indirect way. You know what I mean? Think about it. Like, Predator. I haven't seen Predator in a while.
These are cool collector's editions,
you know what I mean? Right.
That'd be cool.
Now, I saw the movie. I don't know if anyone's seen the first movie. Did you see Did you see the? Okay. First movie is hilarious. This movie was insanely good. Insanely. So I couldn't stop laughing. Brilliant. The break. Just go see it because what they show you, they don't show you anything. Just know, some movies in the previews, they almost give away the movie. Man.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
As thick. Good. Brilliant.
I love
Brilliant.
And isn't
Brilliant.
Isn't it great that it's a this movie that is sweeping pop culture is a rated R movie too?
I know. I mean,
Rated
it's
R
crass,
superhero.
man. It's crass, but there's just so many. It's so intelligent. It's so intelligent and it's genius. And the cameos are great. Just all I can say is keep your eye on Invisible Dude. That's all I will tell you. Just keep that's all I'll say.
All right. A couple of comments. By the way, I know today I've got a live feed going to my personal page. That'll end come Monday, I believe. You'll still be able to pick this up, but it'll be a shared feed from the Wake.Show. So we can try to get migrate everybody to the Wake.Show in the coming weeks. We're getting ready to join.
Yeah, I think
we're getting ready to join a network. We won't get no details. We're getting ready to join a network here in the next couple of weeks. We'll have some details.
That's actually 2 thumbs up. That's a yeah.
So, Robert, good morning, Robert. He says, my kids go to private school. They have chapel, so they get some morals. Brett says, damn, dude, heavy shit. That's why I love this show. And Pat Largo says, Chris, could you get back to touching Fisher again? I'm almost there.
Pat, come on, man. Come on, man. Oh, he's like, I'm trying. Beat you. So, anyways,
well done, McCarty. Well done.
I just a quick little. Just a quick little moment. Get rid of false friends. Get rid of the people who truly do not love you. Everyone's been given examples of a true friend. Whether they apologize the correct way, you will be able to tell those who are not really for you. Stick around people that love accountability, that cherish integrity, and hold themselves just at the mirror. If they make a mistake, you want to be with someone who says, "I messed up. I apologize. Please forgive me." Anything else is BS. Just remember that. I'm just
sharing. Coming from a personal place.
Of course, everything does. My phone died. I was gonna pull it up. Of course, I never ever say names. But there are people. Just who your friends are. There are people who tell you they love you. They love what you do for them. They may not love you. Remember that. I went through a very tough time. We all go through our tough times. And I have friends who stayed with me and checked on me. And when I called in my time of need, even though it may not have been ideal for them, they didn't push me away and run off. And I have friends who did not. And now, as fate has it, I changed my number and I'm out. I'm not dealing with So it's just, if you want to hit me up, you can email me. Great. Make your world a lot smaller. Kill the drama, and you're happy and stay young. I'm telling you, man, times are changing. You got to believe this.
Jane, do you have any stories? Our guest today is Jane McKee, and she has her own entertainment company here in town, bringing a lot of these shows that you guys attend to town. Jane's World Entertainment, been around music going back to 1969. Some bands that you saw before anybody that when you saw them, you were like, holy crap, there's something. And they ended up being something one day. And also those bands that you saw before they were anything, you thought they were shit, and they turned out being great too.
God, I don't know that there were that there were any of those.
Yeah.
I like to respect everybody's music, even if it may not be something I would purchase.
Okay.
Honestly, what I did when I was in New York, when I worked with these large promoters, was from hockey arenas to football stadiums. So it goes as far back as, as people like Johnny or Edgar Winter to, I spent a week on the road with Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, wow.
And
this is before they were Fleetwood Mac, or
they were playing at the football stadium.
So you never really got a chance to see someone who was like on the wall and
well, Pink is one.
Oh, wow.
So you saw Pink when she was.
I remember the first time I met her. She was 13. My husband and I went to her birthday. It wasn't a birthday. It was a Christmas party because she was in a pink leopard jumpsuit.
Oh my gosh.
And the gal, her name is Donna Wright. Her husband was the manager of the Backstreet Boys, and in Orlando.
Johnny. Oh, my bad.
Johnny. Yeah. Okay. Well, we know that story. So anyway, Donna, she said, I want you to hear this girl. She's really going to be something. She's amazing. So she had Pink sing a cappella for us, at the Christmas party, a couple songs. And then I actually had the chance to book her a couple times when she was in her early teens, in and around different things that had to do with Radio Disney and here in Tampa and Pinellas County. And so that was kind of fun.
So when you saw her, did you know she's going to be huge?
Oh, yeah. I said, this girl's amazing. Honestly, I can tell you that just from even watching from the very beginning, like Am Idol and The Voice when they started, I always write down names of people that I know are going to be in the top 4 or 5.
Right.
I'm a dead ringer for picking the talent. And lots of times in those shows, they want a story. If you don't have some sort of a story, it's not going to be interesting enough to do all the background things and so on. But just from the standpoint of the talent, like this young girl, Bryn, who's on the TV, one of the TV shows now. I think she's on The Voice, and she's like 15 years old. And I look at her compared to all the people she's performing with and around her who are years older, and it's like, oh my God, this girl has it. She could be another. I mean, she's just phenomenal. She could be another Kelly Clarkson. She's got the range, the beauty, the charisma, the soul.
Nice.
For it.
Soul.
And that's one of the things I think is really cool about like having people like Alicia Keys on that panel, is that her soul is
soul,
beyond.
man.
She's like old. Bright lights in the city, lady. Man. That woman is makeupless, talentful, and her heart is bigger than the stadiums she plays in. She's unreal.
Yeah.
So, but as far as like seeing people grow up, and there have been quite a few on the way, and there's some people here in Tampa Bay. There's a lot of Tampa Bay talent, and what's sad for me is the numbers. It's just like football. You want to get into the NFL or hockey, into the NHL. The statistics in your favor aren't so
Right.
aren't so
Right.
great. Just like in the music business, but we have people in this area who are extremely talented in all genres of music.
Yeah,
You know,
Tampa's.
from
Oh,
jazz
that's-
to rock.
That's why I don't get too excited. It's so cool to hear your story about discover or seeing Pink at 13 years old. She's on my bucket list, by the way. I don't know,
she's a great
I don't
live
know
show.
what it
You've
is.
never been?
No.
Oh
and I
my
know
God,
she's
you
coming
have
to town
to go.
next
She's
week.
coming to
She's
town.
coming.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah.
go. I mean, when she swings by you,
That is so cool. Well,
Yeah.
there's something about her too because I feel like she's almost an alternative rock chick trapped in a
she's a rocker. Period.
Right,
She's
right.
a definite growly rocker. Another band that I started with was Maroon 5. I mean, before they were a Jim Beam band. And
meaning Jim Beam had sponsored them.
They were
Right.
sponsored by Jim Beam, and the national representative for Jim Beam was an acquaintance of mine, and she said, Jane, we want to bring them into Tampa. So they came to Ybor City, and I'm trying to think if we had them on the same bill as Gavin
Really
DeGraw.
funny. This is funny.
Or Hazel.
It was Gavin
Matt
DeGraw. It
Nathanson,
was
all
Gavin
those
DeGraw.
people. He knows where all my
Yeah,
people
yeah.
at Twilight.
It was Gavin
It was
DeGraw.
after the rub.
Yeah, because the Chris McCartney band.
Because didn't I have you with
we
them?
Kept doing. What happened was, we are contractually obligated in somewhere in Alabama, so we were supposed to be on that show. But they wouldn't let us out. I remember that, and then we ended up going. It was bad. So it was funny. Like a 4-week, we just kept like missing Maroon 5. It was weird, man. And then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, it was a couple different
Yeah.
times that I worked with Maroon 5, and then the last time they were here, they were kind and let me come backstage and hang out with them and stuff. But so there have been quite a few bands just through working in Tampa that came through early on in their days, and then the things that I did in Super Bowl, John Legend at Frankie's Patio, and it was like I didn't know who he was when they said, "Can you get John Legend? Can you get Shaggy? Can you do this and that?" And yeah, okay, we can do that. And then boom, they're exploding.
So
in
when
the
you
next
saw John
handful of
Legend,
years.
were you like, he's gonna be big?
Oh well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a stupid question. Let me ask you, what's your thing your affinity with Pink? What is that all about? Like bucket list? Why? What do you?
There's
She's a
something-
different
there's
kind of
thing
diva.
You
There's
connect with
something.
her.
There's something about her. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Like I said, I always felt like she had this. She was destined. She should have been an alternative rock chick, but somehow ended up in a pop music. It's not like I've downloaded every one of her CDs or anything like that. It's more her than her music. Although there was one song that definitely,
Family Portrait.
perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great
it's
song.
good.
But you know what? I when I go to play, that's like my wife doesn't like it. She likes Pink, but she does not like that
That's a
song.
great song.
Other people too. I've played that song like in a club.
What are the lyrics?
It-
Can you pull them up? I can't think of it right now.
Well,
for
the
whatever reason.
first time that I heard the song was actually watching the video. I was watching that with Palladia. I don't know, whatever it was, and the video was pretty powerful, and I'm tearing up by the end of it. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
I think the reason you fell into a Pink trap too, Fisher, is because she is herself.
Yes.
There is nothing phony about that
Authentic.
young lady. She was a little cocky when she was 13, 14, 15, but
She was also getting in trouble.
because
She was
she
getting in
didn't
trouble
know
with the
enough.
law then,
She
too.
went through
So,
some
yeah,
stuff,
of
and
course.
she's been very upfront about her relationship with her husband. She's a
Good
great
mom,
mom.
dude. Great
She's a
mom.
great mother. She speaks for everyone. From the LGBT community to the pop world.
Yeah.
And she kind of like that edge that you're talking about, where you thought she should have been the alt chick, was when Avril Lavigne was the alt chick. And she's
Yeah,
disappeared. And she's
you're right.
disappeared.
Well,
Yeah.
She and Chaz Kroger.
I like.
I mean, it was a better decision for her because also you look back at No Doubt and Gwen
Yeah.
Stefani. I would have loved to see No Doubt continue down the path.
they
I
were
thought it was
awesome.
so cool to have
Yeah.
a ska band that was fronted by a
Exactly.
cool rock chick. You know,
I think with her and one of the not shot.
Well, she was with her,
right. So and I
bandmate,
think
and that
that'll
fell
mess
apart.
that'll mess everything up, man.
but they're all good friends.
Cool.
They're still really good friends.
I think also the thing I noticed about Pink, the song I like most was the Stupid Girl song. I love it's like empowering women to not be.
I only know the garbage stupid girl. I don't. Did she?
Well,
be a stupid girl.
Well,
If I talk
her whole
like-
thing, Pink's whole thing was,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
if you look at Britney Spears, or Jessica Simpson.
Christina
and
Aguilera.
I met Jessica before she was married to Nick, because I did all that stuff at the arena years back with all those bands and the artists from Johnny Wright's stable in Orlando. And I think she was saying, that's not me. You don't have to be that. You don't have to be size 1. You don't have to be beautiful. You can be strong.
You don't have to dress me up like a high school girl,
you don't have
dancing
to
around
look
like a high school cheerleader.
like a Barbie doll.
Right. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
So here are the lyrics. You ready?
Okay.
Made a wrong turn once or twice. Dug my way out, blood and fire. Bad decision, that's all right. Welcome to my silly life. Mistreated, misplaced, misunderstood. Miss no way, it's all good. It didn't slow me down. Maybe. Do you know the rhythm to the song? Do you know the melody to the song?
I do, but I'm not going to sing anything in a
Chris.
room with Chris McCarty.
Well,
I'm not that good.
Chris,
all right.
I can hear it in my brain, but will it come out?
All right, ready? Here we go. Made a wrong turn once or twice. Dug my way. I can't sing.
No, that's not bad. I can hear it. You're doing it. You're on it.
Bad decision. That's all right. Welcome to my silly life. I can't remember. There's a fun cadence that goes with mistreated, misplaced, misunderstood, and I can't because I haven't heard the song in a while.
Yeah,
hold on a second. Here we can do it.
It changes the rhythm. The tempo changes right there.
Hold on. I believe it's one of my ringtones.
Hey, you can't say that one word though. Just remember that.
It's a great
Because of what we got going on.
All right. Yeah. I got it. I don't have it in my phone because then I would just put it in my ear to help.
It's not on
You're
your
so mean.
playlist.
You're so all right. So pretty please. Don't you ever feel like you're less than effing perfect?
Yeah.
Pretty,
that's the chorus.
If
The
you
hook.
ever feel like you're nothing, you're bleeping perfect to me.
Yep.
You're so. I love this.
Yep.
I think also, some of the lines in this song strike a chord. You're so mean when you talk about yourself. You were wrong. Change the voice. And I love this line too.
Yeah.
Change the voices in your head. Make them like you instead.
Exactly. She's like, you're your best friend. You are your own strength. Your own perfect. No matter who you are.
And I don't remember the details of the video that got me into the song years ago when it first came out. But I remember, I think it was following the story of a little girl who just was
insecure
and
didn't like herself.
Wait, real quick. What I take from this is chase down all my demons. It makes sense that someone like that would be put in the forefront for all to see because, as an example, our own struggle, we're here by ourselves, we come in by ourselves, we leave by ourselves. I'm a big believer that it's just you and you have other people here, and you're really, the story of you is everyone around you is really your story. It's not about you, it's about everyone around you. And I think that part of our path for our own evolution is to face our fears and to face those demons, as you're saying, and as he says, to chase them all down. I think that's good, because one thing that I've been doing is working on these forgiveness letters, and they seem to keep on growing. But just for it's a 9-year. I'm into numerology. Some people know that numerology is the end of things, but yet also the beginning of things. So with me going through a divorce and losing my brother and whatnot, it's the end of that life, so to speak. So what I'd like to do going forward in my life to make sure and to stay happy and to really, really create so much more joy is to go through all the people that we had differences and find my way to forgive them, because forgiveness is not for them, it's for yourself. So instead of going and having long conversations, taking the time to sit back in those moments, go back through them, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do, write it down so I can get it out of my head, out of my body, onto this paper, whether you burn it, whatever, that's your own thing. But I feel like it's the same kind of idea, the same kind of concept of you're chasing down your demons.
Yeah.
I think she had to forgive herself because she wasn't fitting into the mold of everyone that was coming out of that Orlando situation as they were growing up and being formed and manipulated and designed for the industry. And I do believe that she at a point in time in her life really had to take stock of loving herself.
Yeah, right here. This is perfect.
And then the art really began to flow.
This is perfect. So the whole world's scared, so I swallow the fear. The only thing I should be drinking is a nice cold beer. So cool and limed, and we try, but we try too hard, and it's a waste of my time. Done looking for the critics because they're everywhere. They don't like my jeans. They don't get my hair. Exchange ourselves, and we do it all the time. Why do we do that? Why do I do that? Why do I do that?
Yeah, why do you have to fit somebody else's picture of who you are?
Yeah,
Pretty, please, won't you?
Yeah, I like Pink.
Jane,
raise a glass.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Jane, Kat Lanford says hi.
Hey, kitty cat. She's my bestie and assistant and a great musician herself.
Awesome. Let's see. A couple things. You were just...
How long have you guys been friends? How many years?
Like you, I was there when she was at her lowest point. Over 15 years.
I'll say this too. I'll say this, everyone. I gained a lot of more respect and appreciation for Jane. As you said earlier, I don't know if you guys are just checking in. I was talking about make sure you surround yourself with those who care for you and love you.
I have some comments for that.
There are people that I thought I would lean on, and they weren't there, and it's the ones you least expect that'll be there for you. I remember one time I was on the phone with Jane, and she'd hook me up with a gig, and I was just going through too much. That I said, Jane, I can't do this, and just shelve me for right now. I'll be back. I'm going through some stuff, and she gave her heart to me. She lent an ear to me, and I remember crying on the phone with her, very open, bleeding, and it was great to be able to be vulnerable and allowed to still be myself and be honest and have you not judge me, but lean that ear out. And so I wanted to just put that out, and no one knows that, but this is, thank you again. Thank you publicly. Thank you.
You're an angel, Jane. You're an angel.
Oh yeah.
So a couple of comments concerning what you said a little bit ago, Chris, from Todd T. Amen to that, Chris. True friends are hard to find, but they stand out from the pack and stick by you no matter what.
They're here for you. They don't care about your fame. They don't care about your job. They don't care about your money. They don't care about anything. They're here for you.
And Nikki said it's hard to cut the cord, talking about friends. I feel like I get taken advantage of, but I'm the one that feels guilty turning from them. Very tough.
I will say this to you. I am in this, Nikki. It is an unpopular move. I would say that this could be this could be your moment, your path, your crossroad, that difficult decision. There's a shackle that you're holding on. The fact that you're saying that you feel guilty, that's the shackle that they're using because they know you feel guilty because you're a really good person. Today, Cords brought a bunch of donuts. I had to tell myself, I love myself so much that I'm not going to eat those donuts because I know ultimately I want long-term respect and not this momentary satisfaction. And so I say to you too, I love myself enough, and I love you, but I love me too, to end that relationship. And it's not going to be fun. I've had these conversations with people for 20 years. I've been friends, such and such, and I've left in tears about it because it is like a death in its own way. It's the death of this thing you had. But don't try your best to not get caught up in how it once was. That's even our 11 relationships. Like, people stay in a relationship that's toxic because they still remember how it was in month 1, month 2, and they want to get back to that. It's like a drug. Like, the first time you do it, you get real, but it's never the same as the first time. So try not to hold on to what it once was, but look at what it is and just be honest with yourself and be honest with them, because maybe your absence is what will really truly help them grow. And if you truly love them, like you say, sometimes it's best that I may need to be away from you so you can really be who you need to be.
It's tough because there are people that you love and care for in your life that can be a succubus,
Yeah.
and that is a mythical creature that sucks the energy out of you. But yeah, there are those people that, but sometimes it's a phase too, because they're going through some stuff and staying in some stuff, and so they're just always talking about the worst stuff when you're around, and it brings you down.
I hear you, but let me just ask everyone a question. Just a quick question. If you were going through the hardest time in your life, and you got someone that you've been there for them for their hard time, and let's just say 6 months go by and you don't hear from them, you've reached out, you don't hear from them, would you feel they dropped the ball on being a friend?
Oh, yeah.
Me personally?
Yes.
No.
Why is that?
that's just the way I am because
But you gotta-
I don't have
The way I am.
I would.
It's the way I am because
Okay.
I never call anybody.
Well,
I never call anybody.
okay,
You know,
well-
I have great friends that I haven't talked to in years.
Okay, I would say this.
But I'm weird.
We link
I'm
up,
weird.
and we link up, and admittedly, as I said, you know, it could be a fault, could be not, whatever. I tend to look at our actions, not our words, our actions, and you say treat people how you like to be treated. So if I go and treat that and I don't, I feel personally to me that you dropped the ball. Now, when someone says to you, and you admit that you're honest, if someone says, I'm sorry you feel like I did, that means they're not even owning it. Because 5 months, like I'm just saying 6 months, 8 years, there's something to be something. And
I understand. I'm a horrible friend.
So I'm just saying, no, you're not.
I
Far from
am.
it.
I am.
I don't think you're a
like
horrible
my
friend.
wife. It's amazing how her and her friends from high school, going all the way back to high school. There's 8 of them. Do more than just stay in touch. They are constantly planning, getting together. You know, whether it's every couple of months, whatever it is. Half of them are getting together every few weeks. They're on the phone. They're texting.
You also had a really big family though with lots of brothers, dude. That's a little different.
I'm just weird,
It's
dude.
a little
We're all
different.
different.
I hear
so
you.
Pat says, talking to you, Chris.
Yeah.
He goes, the Keanu Reeves quote says it best. None of us get out of here alive. Eat the delicious food. Eat that donut, Chris.
Oh man, I like Pat. I saw those donuts too, boy. I was eyeballing them. They were decorative. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, Chris isn't offering me a donut.
So I was like, you want some water? I
too funny.
I think you know, it's all about what people with their happiness, man. I understand.
Well,
get it.
I am a bad friend.
I have indulged many. I am no stranger to gaining a bunch of weight and losing weight. That's just kind of my ebb and flow. So I indulge. I just say now at this stage the things that I want.
Right.
You know, I've given up things because I do plan on being on nationwide TV. I do plan on being very popular. I do plan on these things. So if I'm planning, I'm just trying to get myself in the best position possible so I can make that stuff happen.
That's smart.
Elliot says, Elliot, I consider, I want to say one of my closest friends, but I never call him.
He's a friend. Well, that could be the way you're your friend. You're just that kind of friend. Like when you're with them, you're great. I love you. Hey, listen, I don't call people. Like if you acknowledge that and say who you are, great. But you're not the kind of person who's going
because I want to.
But you're not coming to me and asking me for stuff. But you're not asking like succubus. You're not like, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you do this for me? Hey, you don't ask me for anything.
All right, so
I think a bad friend is one that asks and asks and asks and does not put back into the well because it's like a bank.
Right.
You have your savings and you have your checkings. Like, listen, man, the savings starts to run dry. You got to put money back into that.
You're right.
Or you're depleted.
So like now, so the people that I love over at Cox Media Group, the people that I worked with at 97X, right? So that gig ended back in 2013. Right. I lost touch with most of them, and the only time that I'm texting now are those times a year that I'm like, hey, can I have tickets to that concert that's coming up? And so now my relationship's even worse because, well, you feel like you can't. I don't know, because once you're fired and you're out of a company, it's hard. Those conversations are weird, you know. You know what? It's not on. It was always on me, and I'm just and it doesn't matter because now we're making this about me, and I don't want to make this about me because this is bullshit. This goes way back. I'm a shitty friend.
Here we at. Slow down. Slow down. Just slow down. Don't take the roller coaster ride.
Well, if it bothers you that you're a shitty friend,
Yeah, wait. Let me grab
then
this.
you need to do something about it.
Let me grab
Or
this real
not.
quick. Let me grab this real quick, Jane. Chris, this moment that you're doing right now is beautiful. Not many people will acknowledge where they're a little low. And the fact that you have passion to be like, and you blow it up, let's not run from it. Let's just gracefully bring it toward yourself and say, okay, what are the steps that I can do to be the friend that I'd like to be? And let's start there. Let's start there. Great, sigh. I get it. You're tired right now. You're tired of being that way.
We're going to go get some anti-anxiety medicine as soon as Doc and I'm getting therapy because this goes back to childhood.
Wait.
You're blocking, Chris. You're blocking.
Okay, I'll listen. I apologize.
That's all right. This stuff goes way back. All right. And the reason that I'm going, let's not talk about it now because it doesn't relate. It doesn't relate. People don't get it. They get frustrated. They get angry and just go, well, dude, just pick up the phone and call. It's that simple if you're that worried about it. Okay. So there's a crushing anxiety that goes along with a lot of the things that I would like to do in my life.
Right.
Am I working on them right now? Am I actively working on that stuff right now? I am.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
So that's all I can do.
But you
and I saw
acknowledged
something.
it.
I saw
That's
something
awesome.
from Confucius yesterday, and it said something to the effect of, "Just keep moving forward, no matter how slowly that movement is. As long as you don't give up and keep moving forward, things will happen for you." But basically, you know what the paraphrase. And so, even though I'm not in the place where I'd like to be right now, I'm not stopping. I'm not giving up. I'm moving forward, and I'm going to try something new and try something different and try this until I get to a place where I feel comfortable or feel like it's.
This is what I will do as your friend. I feel it. I feel the energy. I have been in stages of my life when I wasn't a good friend, at least to my,
Standards.
my standards. So what we're going to do on Monday, we're going to come here with a piece of paper. We're going to write down a list on the show, just a number of friends. Just a couple of names. Just a couple of names.
I've already got the list sitting at the house.
Okay, cool. Bring the list in on Monday. And then what we're going to do is for 30 seconds, I just want you in just one of them, just one. I'll take over. I'll start talking. You come back here and you're just going to write your own little apology. I wish I could be a better friend. I apologize for not being the best friend. I'm going through things. I'm not trying to, I please find forgiveness. I'm doing this so I could try. I'm doing this as an attempt to be the friend that I like to be. We're just going to do that one. You're going to let it out. You're going to breathe, and we're going to continue with the show. Because I think we're talking about steps. And again, I think I'm a pretty good friend. My friends who know I'm a good friend, they will tell you. And I think that's the best thing I can do. We're in this together, man. I can't sit up here and talk about, we got to hold each other accountable and have ideas and then not give any action. So if this is something that's you're struggling with, we can all do it. Because if we do it together, what does that allow everyone else who's watching to think? What could that give them? Not, Chris is so cool. It's not about that. It's about, man, they just did that. Maybe I can do it too. And then we'll just go from there, everyone together, man. And we'll just take it nice and easy, dude. Because at the end of the day, you want it. Which is why I will give that time with you, because you want it.
All right.
And it's awesome.
Thank you.
I love you, dude.
On Monday's show, my apology letters begin. Brett says, quote, "When you fall, make sure you fall on your back.
Forward, so you can look up.
So
you
you're
can get
always
back up.
looking up."
That's Les Brown. I got you, man. Hey, listen, I'm here. I like that, Brett.
All right, a couple of things before we get out of here. Lightning strikes twice in D.C. Series tied up last night. Amazing. Go Bolts. Next game is tomorrow night. Let's see, man arrested. Did you guys see the story? Some guy walked into a Trump golf club and just started firing off shots.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this happened in
What?
Doral in Miami.
Isn't that weird that we had a guest on 2 days ago. It was Dion, the owner from Chickaboom Room and Kelly's, and he was just talking about going to the Trump golf courses, and maybe he'll be slowing that down, no?
So gunfire erupted early Friday at presidential Donald Trump's golf resort as a man shouting anti-Trump rhetoric draped a flag over a lobby counter and exchanged fire with officers in what one official called an ambush before being arrested. One officer received a broken arm and the suspect was wounded by gunfire, which began about 1:30 a.m. This is Trump National Doral Golf Club near Miami. So did he buy Doral? Is Doral now
I'm
a Trump?
surprised because I've stayed there. It's a gorgeous place.
Yeah?
I love the Doral. I've stayed there numerous times with the Beach Boys because that's their favorite place to stay when they're in Miami.
I played the blue course once.
I didn't know that he was connected to that.
I didn't. So I wonder if it's a newer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the details.
You know what? I would figure maybe it's the closest to Mar-a-Lago.
Trump was not at the club at the time. Next up, you said you wanted to talk a little bit about this, Chris.
This is why. Let's be honest, man. That guy he really loved people, man. Michael Jackson really loved people. And talk about being misunderstood. And I mean, how many people can go into another country and people start falling on the ground and chasing after him, and he's got to wear a mask and like listen to his music. Forget all the stuff that they wanted to show us. Just listen to the music, because that music doesn't lie, man. If it makes you right, it's close to midnight. Something evil's lurking in it. Man, come on. So I think we should. Listen, I like that. Let's go. Let's talk about Michael Jackson.
So Park and Rec.
Did you meet Michael Jackson? Oh man, I know.
I saw him.
Stumped.
I only saw him once. I saw him once, but I never met him.
I never
Yeah,
saw him.
up in Jacksonville.
Did you meet Prince?
Who?
Prince. But you saw him.
Yes. My daughter was a friend of his keyboard player, and there was a show in the small room the theater at the Rio.
200 people, right?
At the Rio, 200 people.
Yeah, you were
but
there.
Yeah, we were there.
Goosebumps.
We're in Vegas, but I didn't get to meet him. I met the keyboard player. He's
Yeah,
but
you
no,
saw
I
him
didn't get to meet
play.
Prince.
Ugh,
But
awesome.
ooh, yeah, he's a goosebump.
So ABC announces a 2-hour primetime television event on Michael Jackson's life and legacy. It's a documentary featuring never-before-seen interviews with Jackson, revealing his personal thoughts about work and relationship. It's called The Last Days of Michael Jackson, and that's going to be Thursday, May 24th, ABC.
Awesome.
Michael Jackson holds the record in the Guinness World Book of Records for donating and giving.
Oh, really?
Did you know that?
Really?
I
Talk
did not.
about that.
Even now with the Gates doing what they're doing
now, bro,
still to this day.
he is the #1 guy. He's given more than anyone living.
So how do you? Because I think Elliot brings up a good point here, and how history is going to view him. Because obviously Michael Jackson, a complicated figure, had his allegations with child molestation and paid off some families as well.
No proof, allegedly, no proof. And the kids are older, and this goes taken off of YouTube. Kids were older and admitted that one of their parents told them to do it.
Yeah.
What about
But
what if
we don't talk about that though? They don't talk about. I'm getting. God,
Well-
I'm so mad.
Right.
False allegations, man. What is?
But you
wrong
don't know
with
that
you
it's
people?
false. You don't know. You know that
If
the one
kids
kid
are saying our parents
okay, so
told
one of
us
them
to do
was.
it.
But here's the thing. In
parents.
today's climate, considering what's going on in today's world, how do you think Michael Jackson would be being handled right now in the media?
The same way they would ostracise them as they did. They do one thing. They
You could be acquitted from a crime, and then it'll follow you for the rest of your life.
Because that's right. There's the public
You just
opinion,
put
court
that
of the public
seed
opinion.
of thought into somebody's brain, and they don't let go of it,
And we
especially if
believe
they
it.
want to think the negative.
Yes, and that's what's the problem is the millennials today, as I say, sorry millennials, but like they're looking for something to be like, oh look, be offended by or something like that, and so now, man, like Michael Jackson, it's the same thing, dude. Look
Cool
at Dave
thing
Chappelle. Talk about Dave Chappelle was smoking crack in Africa. Africa ain't even got water. How they gonna get crack? Come on, man. I'll wait.
That was a pretty good Dave Chappelle. Come on, man.
I'm just saying, like we believe so much what we see instead of really like, well, did I see it? If I didn't see it myself, I'm questioning it.
You
That's
mean
just me.
The fake news. That's the fake news.
That's one of the team names on Tuesday nights when I'm doing my trivia night.
What's
you
your
know?
name?
Fake news.
Fake news.
That's a common team name. I don't know if it's the same team that's coming out there and doing that, but it's a common team name. All right, a couple other things. Oh, by the way, or what I was going to say is my Park and Rec gig on Wednesday nights. It's a younger crowd, karaoke night, so I'm playing newer music, but I will still mix in Michael Jackson, and you still because I look around I'm watching people when I mix in Mike, and people are still
you
doing
gotta
this.
move.
Yeah.
Oh, which brings me to this. All right, so
Chris, hold on.
My bad.
But so that being said, right? So I can play Michael Jackson, get away with that club. So I want to go to a little old school hip hop. How old school? LL Cool J, old school. Going back to Cali, old school.
Cool. I'm
Sir
bad,
Mix-a-Lot?
old school. Sir Mix-a-Lot.
No, I would never play that out there. No, but hold on. So I go to play. I'm thinking LL is still cool. I think that's gonna be a cool little
It's in
throwback.
his name.
This hot ass girl comes up and she's like, "Could you play some newer rap?" And I was just like, "Oh man, how are you? How are you talking disparage? How are you giving that face to LL Cool J?"
Man, that's rough. That's rough, man.
But Michael Jackson still works. But Michael Jackson still works.
There you go. And then, so this is what I was gonna. Have you heard of Yanni and what is it?
Laurel.
Have you guys done it yet?
No.
Yes, I did it.
What'd you hear?
Yanni.
What did you? Oh, you haven't done it yet?
I haven't done it.
All right,
I was hearing people. I'm reading about it, seeing it, but I didn't do it.
I am so. This is all right. So I try my best to not brag about things. This is the one thing I'm really just proud of. I think it's like a gift that God gave me. Awesome ears.
Did you say you
I
try
can
not
hear
to
both.
boast? Did you say
like
you try not to boast?
Yes. Go back to all the tapes. Bring it. Tell me what I boast about.
All right, go ahead.
I'll wait. What am I boasting about?
You are a boastful. You are boastful by nature.
Well, give me.
You get excited about yourself and the things that you're
Give
doing.
me an example.
All right, you get okay.
Am I informative? Am I saying, hey, this is really cool? Like am I telling the story? But I'm giving the glory, saying, hey, follow the path, stay on it. Like this happened and this happened. It's just really cool, and I'm just grateful, maybe because
when I say things, they happen
because my character is caught up with my confidence. Wait a minute, but I'm just saying, yes, so far, like, but I'm saying power of the tongue,
Chris,
and I'm starting to give people the same power.
You're very confident in who you are.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, anyways,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Here's a boastful moment. Let's see how it's not going to take me far in life. I just happened to hear both. Yanni and Laurel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. How cool does that make me? Whatever.
Well, now I have to go and play this game and see what I hear. So the guy that actually did this little exercise, whoever was behind it, has come forward to say why he did it. So they asked him, well, what do you hear? He hears Laurel. That helps out.
Is he younger?
I don't know.
They said, I guess most women hear Yanni and men hear Laurel. That's what my friend told me.
Brett says the best trivia team name that he's ever heard was A Dark and Stormy Daniels. Dark and Stormy Daniels. There's been some good ones, and there's one team name that always makes me cringe. When this past week there was a little girl sitting in front, probably 9 years old, that she's right in front of me, front row, and one of the team names is "We Like to Come From Behind." And so it's a little play on words there, and they've been out there before. And the funny thing is that team will be at the bottom, and then all of a sudden win the thing at the end. So it fits. They like to come from behind, but it's obviously sexual innuendo. So I'm reading that just like it's supposed to be family friendly. So Maribel hears ya Laurel. Ya Laurel. The recording is actually of Laurel, though. It's from a vocabulary website. So if you hear Laurel, you're correct. All right.
Well, anyways, I want to tell you why, but you haven't done it yet. So
done what yet?
Try the test.
Oh, okay. So another quick story before we move on to some good stuff, and that is a man threatened to blow up a mosque in Orlando, and the FBI caught him using caller ID. That's all I wanted to share. If you're going to call it a bomb threat, we've had caller ID, I think, going back to the late 80s.
What are you doing?
Suspect allegedly expressed delight over fear. And this is a South Florida man is accused of leaving multiple voicemails saying he would blow up a mosque days before Ramadan. The way the officials found him, they checked the caller ID. Dustin Hughes, 26, is alleged to have called whatever this mosque is in Pembroke Pines. Oh, I guess that's farther south. That's not Orlando.
Yeah.
South.
4 times a week, Hughes made his first call on Cinco de Mayo, claiming he had planted a bomb in the mosque and planned on detonating it. Quote, I planted a bomb in your temple. I'm going to blow your effing temple up, you effing Muslim piece of bleep. Hughes allegedly said in the first voicemail, you guys want to come here and cause mayhem to America? Well, I'm going to cause mayhem to your religion, because your religion is nothing but lies, lies, lies from the devil. Where's Allah now?
This is so crazy because you are doing what you say that they're doing. You're doing what you say they're doing. How does it make you, if you're talking about that, these guys, and I don't mean to say they're doing what your idea of Muslims is blowing people up and blah, blah, blah. Like, if they're, you guys,
well,
I'm like,
what do you think the chances are if we get and run this guy through some psych evaluation that we're going to see that he's a little off? I have a feeling that most of these people are a little off.
Yeah, they're very off. I don't think a little. I think they're very off.
And that's being nice.
Yeah, you're off because you didn't even listen. You're off because you didn't even think to call from another phone, maybe a pay phone. What's wrong with you? You're off, dude.
All right,
and a little stupid.
Yes.
Oh, I got a race tomorrow. Before we get to this, the last story here, we're talking about the royal wedding tomorrow morning. My wife goes, it's a good thing that you have a race tomorrow. I'm announcing, is it St. Jude's?
Shaw Children's Hospital. Because Deirdre told me that you're going to be announcing at her hospital, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
We're doing that race. I don't know the details yet. They sent me a script, but I don't know where it is yet.
I'll text her and tell her, hey, Chris is like, tell your people to call Chris.
I'll figure it out. I'll Google it. I'll Google Maps it. I'm sure I can find it. But anyway, you have that race tomorrow, and she goes, it's a good thing that you're not going to be here because you would otherwise be very angry. And I was like, why? She goes, because I'm getting up very early tomorrow to watch the royal wedding.
5 o'clock in the morning?
I thought it was
when it starts
the coverage starts at 5 or 5:30, but I think the actual ceremony's at 7:30 Eastern time.
I hope so.
Think. You hope so?
I'm just DVR.
Oh, so you're going to watch it too, huh?
No, not in real time.
But in general, she's going to watch it.
Yeah, but I just want to get through the part to see if they actually do what William and Kate did, and they do the kiss twice and that kind of thing.
Huh?
I probably won't watch it all. I'm too busy to watch it all, but...
Wait, so you're curious on what they do after they say, I now pronounce you Prince and
well, when they come
Princess?
out on the balcony, like they did when William and Kate got married, everybody, the 200,000 people were yelling kiss, kiss, and they kissed, and then they kissed a second time, which has never happened.
Oh.
So we'll just have to see if
they're gonna go 3 times. Mwah, mwah, beat you, big bro. Mwah.
Yeah.
That's what
So
I
you're
do.
you're DVRing this thing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can see if there's
I
going to be a
hardly-
double
I
kiss.
don't have time to watch anything in real time anymore, except for like the hockey game last night, that kind of thing.
Are you going to this one in Saturday? Are you going to be there?
No, I'm not going Saturday.
Oh yeah. No,
It's my only day off.
Ladies,
stay in.
I have something.
Tonight I work Sunday.
Stay in.
I'll just watch it.
I have a little something for you if you need. If you're heading to one of the local English pubs tomorrow morning. This is how you can do your nails up. There you go. How about that, ladies?
I wonder how many people
nice.
are going to be trying to do double and triple kisses now for their weddings, man. Like,
Well, I was watching Fox 13 here locally this morning, and I saw that. All around town, these English pubs are opening up tomorrow morning early. And
Really?
going to be serving, whatever, chips, bangers and mash. I don't know, whatever there is, they're going to be serving, and people are going to be gathering to watch.
have
this
you ever
over weather.
woken up early to watch anything? Anything at all? Like you knew, okay, if it's like, let's say it's Wimbledon, you know that Serena's going to be on, and they're trying to, anything like that. Have you ever woken up early?
I want to say there was something, but I can't remember what it was. If it were,
I remember like some times when we were all glued to TV. 9/11, and for the entire week or so after that,
Yep.
and when Kennedy was shot, it was like you were glued to your television sets. You went to sleep, and then you got up and you turned the TV on.
Did you? It was so. One of the promos that they're running on one of the local TV stations for their news is suggesting that you put your devices down and watch television news like the old days. And they're saying because you need a break. You need a break from all that stuff. You need just to sit and relax and let the news. Yeah, and just watch the news.
Relaxing at all. The news is stressful, bro. That's why I don't watch it.
But it's just an interesting marketing campaign. Is there as TV and radio and all the traditional mediums are trying to keep their listeners, viewers, and readers. How they're going? They put down the device and sit down in front of the television and let the news just wash. Deidre says John Hopkins All Children's Hospital run for all children's tomorrow. I don't know where you're supposed to go, but I'll find. No, I don't you worry about. I will thank you. You can,
my girl.
But I'm sure that I'll have that.
That's my best friend.
I'll figure that information out.
What?
And the reason that I don't know anything about it because I literally. It got booked this week. Like yesterday, I think it was confirmed. It was either going to be me or DJ Fresh, and I guess DJ Fresh had other things to do.
No, they went the right way. That's all. They were like, this guy. He's the one.
DJ Fresh, he's huge. He's the Rays DJ. He's got a lot of things.
Dougie.
You know Doug, yeah.
Oh, very well.
He's awesome, by the way.
He's a great guy.
He is.
They did the right thing.
Dougie
They
Hensel.
got Chris. He's better than. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a good friend. That's how I am.
So Largo says that he once got up early for the British Open in golf.
You know what? Was it where Tiger was going? Because that's the one time I got up early.
Maybe that's what it was.
I think it was like 3 a.m. And I was like, I have to be like, you know what? And I don't know what it was, but it was maybe it was his return. I'm not quite sure, but it was like I gotta see. And that's the one time I got up earlier. I've gotten up to watch the Williams sisters play. Oh, that's kind of cool. But yeah, Tiger got me up early, but I won't for the royal wedding. Now that I'm divorced, no, weddings, no. They're good.
All right, so there we go. Thank you so much for being a part of the Wake.Show today. Jane, thank you so much for coming by.
Jane.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Chris, as always, you got a big gig tonight. Is it an earlier one?
Still kind of not quite sure it's going to go down.
Oh, okay.
We got some legalities to figure out and sort out. So,
Ooh.
Hey.
Well, if you don't go out, me and the wife, we have a triple date currently with some friends, so we can add a 7th wheel if you'd like to come out with us.
Okay, thank you.
You can hang out with some old married couples tonight.
No, I'm daddy. It's my weekend with the kiddos. So if I don't play, I like to play so they can see the show. But if not, I'm doing daddy.
All right,
I'm boasting that I'm doing daddy. I had to bring that.
You can boast on that anytime.
I'm a great dad. I'm not boasting. I'm telling the truth.
No, you're right. I boast. I'm a great dad.
So I'll see you guys at John Hopkins All Children's Hospital. Run for all children's tomorrow morning. Thank you, Deidre, and have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday, and we've got something we're doing, or some exercise we're doing on Monday too.
It's gonna be great.
Start apologizing to my friends for being a horrible friend all these years. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Be good to your fellow man, and most importantly, let your crazy breathe just a little before it gets the best of you.